All right, so I did my origin video of Mysterio. Now, I will admit, I want to say this right out the gate. I have never been like a huge fan of Mysterio. And I would say that I'm still not, but I thought, one of the characters that I know the least about is Mysterio. I mean, I guess I know enough. His character is not I, I want to say his character is not super duper complex. He is complex, but not in a way that would make you go out of your way to look for Mysterio. So, what I decided was I'm going to look up as much information as I could on top of what I looked up for my origin video, which those videos actually take a lot. Even though they're short, I try to keep those videos between 3 and 2 minutes. I try to keep it below that. And here's my idea. This is my concept. There will be a lot of new people that come to comic books. And one of the boundaries to entry that I had entering comic books is there's so much history, so much lore, so many things going on, so much back and forth, so many reboots. It's hard to track and you don't know where to start. And if you just started collecting, you kind of feel like you're outside the loop because so much happens. People talk about so much and you're just completely lost. What I try to do with my videos, make them short, easily digestible so that people who watch the videos will know everything they need to know about this character. Not everything that there is to know, but everything that they need to know. So when the characters come up, they can talk with some degree of intelligibility and also not be lost when people talk about powers and why they think one character is better than the next. Like I said, obviously, I realize that I don't cover every single thing in a 3-minute video. You can't. But I think you can give a person enough that they can digest. At a bare minimum, they can decide if they're interested in that character or not. And I'll be honest, as I was doing this research, I was like, yo, Mysterio is actually a lot more dangerous than people realize. Like, even though he has no powers, I think that makes him even more dangerous. I think what I saw as I was, looking and digging, especially, look, the Old Man Logan, him convincing Wolverine to kill the rest of the X-Men, I didn't know anything about that. As I've said many times before, I fell off from comic collecting for many years, 10 plus years, and then picked back up, started reading some more books, started getting back into it. But there's a lot that I just didn't get caught up on. And of course, with as many comic books as you have now, as many, concurrent or different runs of a certain book, like you might have 5 different Batman titles going on at one time, 6 different X-Men titles going on at one time. It's hard to keep up with all that stuff. So doing that research, I was like, you know what? Maybe we need to talk about Mysterio. And is Mysterio actually being underused by Marvel? Like, is this one of those characters that could have been used even more? Obviously, he's a Spider-Man villain, and he's definitely used within Spider-Man. But I wonder if Mysterio could have been used more like Doctor Doom, right? Really a Fantastic Four enemy, but he's such a menacing character that he's been used across Marvel, multiple different storylines and multiple different runs because he's just that menacing. He is that dude. Could they have done this same thing with Mysterio? We're going to read a little bit about Mysterio, and I found this website. Now, I'm not saying this website is some authority or it can be trusted. I've never used it. I'm sure there's probably somebody out there that's more familiar with this website than me. It's Superhero Database, and it is a database that covers superhero rankings, power sets. Of course, this is all set. I think it's both audience and whoever handles the website. I think it's curated by them as well. So a lot of this stuff is to some degree subjective, right? Now, there are characters that you can obviously be objective about their power set, like Galactus, right? This dude is extremely powerful, powerful than most heroes. And I think most people would agree with that. Of course, there are heroes, there are omega level heroes that definitely give Galactus a run for his money, no doubt. But Mysterio with no powers, when you look at his history and the things he's done, I'm like, yo, for a guy with no powers to go toe to toe with these people. Now, I know the first thing you probably think in your mind is, well, Batman. Batman is a special character all in and of itself. Like, I set Batman in his own category. Batman for me is the greatest hero. He is super intelligent. As far as like playing chess in a battle, no one does it better than Batman. You read any of his stories and you will see this guy outthinks everyone. Now, Quentin Beck, who is Mysterio, is actually a very thoughtful dude. And again, this is just not something you think about. Well, it's not something that I thought about because Marvel doesn't really celebrate this villain enough, in my opinion, after, like I said, after doing my reading. So let's go to this website I got up right here. This is Comic Vine, and it's going over a little bit of the history of Mysterio. And I think it'd be, good to break some of this down. Some stuff, like I said, I didn't know. Mysterio was a formidable foe of Spider-Man, so much so that his arts of illusion were carried on by others after the original Mysterio's death. The original Mysterio, Quentin Beck, has recently returned. The events behind his resurrection are currently shrouded in mystery. And I don't know exactly when this was written, and I haven't kept up with Mysterio, so I can't tell you how all of these things play out. I've read enough over the past couple of days doing research for my video. Okay, his origin. Now, if you've watched my video, if not, go watch that video posted today, The Origin of Mysterio. Quentin Beck was an expert in designing special effects, devices, and stage illusions, as well as master hypnotist and magician. An amateur chemist, he also possessed a wealth of knowledge in hand-to-hand combat techniques that he learned as a stuntman. And when you think about all of these different, things he would have picked up as a stuntman and as a special effects guy, right? If there's anybody that knows sleight of hand, how to fool you into thinking something is happening when something else is happening, that would be this dude, Quentin Beck. And it didn't dawn on me how dangerous that could be in the wrong hands. And Mysterio proves just exactly how dangerous that can be. Unfortunately, all these things did little to help his career in the film industry. One day, a colleague joked that the easiest way to become famous was to take out a costumed hero. It was here where that Mysterio was born. And of course, it tells you when he was created. He was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, legends, and first appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man number 13, which again, I covered in my video. If you've not, go watch that video. It's a good one. I think it's a good one. If you're a fan of Mysterio, I think this is a good video. And I personally believe that I am really unbiased in my opinion about Mysterio. And the reason is I really didn't think anything about him as a villain. But that, I'm telling you, it was really that Wolverine Old Man Logan arc that kind of won me over. I was like, yo, Mysterio is this dude is kind of nuts. Like, he might actually be one of the most sinister villains out there. It's always the ones with no powers, like Joker, right? When you think about Batman, Joker is one of the most menacing villains around. And he's just a nutcase. He's a nutcase that's actually a genius, but he's just a nutcase. interesting characters. It's not, powers don't always make the best heroes or villains. And the more and more I read comics as an adult, I understand that more than I did when I was a kid. Obviously, as an adult, you understand some more complex ideas than you understand as a kid. Anyway, it says The Rise of Mysterio, major story arcs. The Rise of Mysterio. Mysterio chose Spider-Man as his target. He viewed Spider-Man as a relatively inexperienced and weak hero and felt it would be easy to take him down. Quentin joined forces with the Tinkerer, and together the two developed a scheme to steal some secret military plans. They used their combined intellect to develop an alien disguise to hide their true intentions for these plans. The scheme was foiled by Spider-Man, but because of the villains' disguises, their true identities remained anonymous. Beck continued to study Spider-Man's behavior and his actions, and when he felt he was ready, he attacked as Mysterio, armed with gas that could confuse Spider-Man's senses. And this is the part of that Old Man Logan story that is so sinister. Whatever he did, now, I didn't read the story. I did a bunch of research. I haven't read the whole story. I'm going to see if I can find a back issue of the book at my local comic book store, and then I'm going to read through the whole thing. But apparently what he did something with the smells of the people that Logan could not distinguish between who was who or who these people were. Because, you could try to fool Logan, but he can smell you and he knows exactly who you are. But Mysterio did something. He thought so far down that he even thought about that. Like, I have to do something with his sense of smell to prevent him from being able to recognize that this is the X-Men that he's actually slaughtering. That is dirty and sinister. That is crazy. When you think about the amount of people that have faced off against Wolverine and not managed to do a thing. The fact that Mysterio, with no powers, was able to do all of this is absolutely mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. You gotta respect the man. You gotta respect him. He definitely did his thing. I ain't mad at him at all. I ain't mad at him. I gained a new respect doing this research. I might go back and read some other books and do some back issue research, because this and all of these origin videos that I've done and all of the research that I've done for these origin videos, most of the characters I already knew enough about to do the videos even without looking anything up. But some of them, I'm just like, you know what? Let me make sure I got all my ducks in a row. But this was the first time that I was like, yo, have I misjudged Mysterio? Like, did I overlook Mysterio as a villain, as though he wasn't really somebody not to be trifled with? And I think I might have. Because it says, armed with gas that could confuse spider senses, hallucinogenic gas, and chemicals that could easily dissolve his webbing, he saw the first battle to be an easy win. Unfortunately for Mysterio, Spider-Man never goes down without a fight. Such was the case, and Mysterio was defeated and arrested. So he misjudged Spider-Man. And this is for me what I think makes him so menacing, because if you misjudge Spider-Man, especially in a situation like this, and then this happens to you, at some point, what you would probably say is, okay, I have to learn from that. I can't do the same things I did before. And as many battles as he had with Spider-Man and with his mastery of illusions, you can only imagine the wealth of knowledge he gained over these battles. And you actually see some of this in Ultimate Spider-Man, and obviously, as I've gone over, in Old Man Logan. I think Mysterio needs to be used more. I think if you got a guy that could think about this, you don't even have to throw a punch. All you have to do is convince an ultra powerful person by some sleight of hand to go attack the person you want to take down, and it's done. And you don't have to lift a finger. All you did was illusions and trickery. Yo, that's dirty. That's dirty. This is a person that I would be really afraid of, because I'm like, yo, even when you don't think he's up to something, he's up to something. There's a story arc I read about him and his psychiatrist and convincing people that his psychiatrist killed him. And I believe this was linked to his death and him making, a deal with the devils, all kind of stuff going on with Quentin. I'm like, yo, this is a downright dirty dude. And his deceptions are dastardly. Okay, Sinister Six. After several failed attempts at the web slinger's life, Mysterio accepted Dr. Octopus's invitation to join the Sinister Six, a group of malcontents, each with their own grudge against Spider-Man. As part of the team of evildoers, it was Mysterio's job to construct robotic replicas of the X-Men to subdue Spidey. But Spider-Man quickly realized that he wasn't fighting his old allies and used his spider sense to find Beck's remote control room and defeat him yet again. But yo, the fact that he has all of this understanding, all of this vast knowledge, chemistry, special effects, robotics, and he's a villain, that's super dangerous. That's super dangerous. And I didn't think about that. You don't think about making those, connecting those things and just how dangerous all of those things are. But man, like I said, as I got into this, I was like, yo, this dude is definitely somebody that can be used in a lot of storylines and probably used to the advantage of Marvel a lot more. Okay, the battle against Spider-Man. After the dispersion of the Sinister Six, Mysterio continued to battle with Spider-Man to his own dismay. For a time, it was thought that he had died in prison as his old friend Daniel Burkhart was taking up the fishbowl for him, but it turned out Beck had been alive all along. A crusade of Mysterio's was to attempt of the retrieval of a lost fortune located in Aunt May's house. Ironically, the money had been eaten by silverfish by the time it was discovered, leaving Mysterio defeated yet again. This is like one of those villains that is menacing and has all the earmarks of somebody that's going to be a huge problem, but then has a bunch of unfortunate events. This is kind of crazy. Eventually, Mysterio was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor and critical lung cancer, assumed to be a nasty side effect of the chemical products he had used against Spider-Man for years. Because it had been predicted that Mysterio had at most a year to live, Ravencroft released him to carry out the rest of his life in freedom. Mysterio made one final attempt to exact his revenge against Spider-Man. However, it had come to Mysterio's attention that Spider-Man was in fact a clone and no longer the enemy he knew. Because he had no need for revenge against this new Spider-Man, he decided that he would get a superhero worthy of his respect and his miserable life. He decided it was Daredevil. Man, this dude just from one person to the next. And Daredevil, yo, he no slouch. This ain't the person to be trifled with either. He picks the wrong people. Well, I guess you could say he picks the right people. Who would have the pleasure of ending the reign of Mysterio. Mysterio devised a plot to make Daredevil kill him in a fit of insanity. Yo, that's crazy. He hired Bullseye to kill Daredevil's love interest, Karen Page. He destroyed Foggy Nelson's relationship with Liz Osborne, and he almost made Daredevil kill a baby, but still Daredevil's resolve was too great for Mysterio's psychological torture. Beck ended up committing suicide by shooting himself. However, there was another Mysterio on the horizon, brewing like a storm in the mind of Daniel Burkhart, an old friend of Beck's. So that's a pretty interesting story. I kind of don't like it sometimes when comic book companies do this, the whole kill the character and bring the character back. I'm like, yo, if you're going to kill the character, just let the character die. Okay, you didn't see it, or you probably did see it. Probably looked like a jump cut. I paused my video, had to go take care of something else. Anyway, I am back. We're talking about Marvel and killing off characters and bringing characters back. I don't like it. I never have. I wish if you're going to kill a character, just commit. Just say that the character is dead. All of this time that you've given and people have been invested in this character and you've built up to this moment, and then you kill a character, just let the character die. Do not bring that character back. I think it's a disrespect to the fans, personally. That's my personal thought. I think if you're going to kill a character, let the character go away. Don't bring him back. Okay. Return of Beck. A teleporting mutant named Francis Clum purchased the Mysterio costume and turns the school Peter Parker teaches at into a haunted house, filling it with death traps. Clum's actions brings the attention of Daniel Burkhart, who arrives and prepares to team up with Spider-Man in order to defeat him. Quentin Beck, apparently alive, appears in the school auditorium in a dark red version of his costume and confronts Clum before leaving him for Burkhart to deal with, and Spider-Man captures Burkhart. Clum runs into Miss Arrow and tries to take her hostage, only to be stabbed by one of her stingers. He then teleported away, badly bleeding. Neither Burkhart nor Clum have been seen since. Beck also vanished, with Spider-Man wondering if the real Beck had really returned back from the dead. And again, that's part of that whole, he's dead, he's alive, he comes back. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think what might be happening is people don't really know what to do with Mysterio. And now that I know a little bit more about the character, it's funny, I've been reading comics for years and just loosely knew about Mysterio, but you do some research into a character and you start to figure out, yo, this dude actually could be used like in a really big way for some really huge story arcs. I mean, if they really play up his knowledge of chemistry and robotics, coupled with that, sleight of hand, special effects aspect, man, they could go nuts with this. They could go actually bananas with this. If I was a writer at Marvel, I'd be like, yo, give me a Spider-Man book. Give me about 15 issues. I'm about to go crazy with this Mysterio story. I'm about to go nuts. Okay, the Gauntlet. As part of the Gauntlet storyline, Mysterio reappears working with Magia in the ongoing gang war with Mr. Negative. Carmine, the consigliere of the Carnelli, formerly Manfredi family, hires Mysterio to fake the return of the important Magi leaders, including Silvermane, including Silvermane. Carmine hoped to take control of, and it's funny, right? Like a lot of these storylines I never read. I honestly never read. And you don't realize how deep some of these things go if you're not paying attention. No, look, I know some people who just know all of this stuff by heart, right? And it baffles me. Like, I don't have a memory like that. Not only do I not have a memory like that, I'm very particular and specific about the comic book stories I like. And I don't just go looking for everything. I'm not one of those collectors. I know there are some that they just look for and read everything. More power to you. I think people like Comic Story, and I think might have been this way when he was alive. Rob from Comics Explained, Comic Book Drake. I think these are guys that just have things committed to memory and they can recall everything about every character. Not that way, not for me. I'm the normal guy's comic collector. I guess you could put it that way. Carmine hoped to take control of Magia, I think that's how you say that, Magi, whatever, through the robotic Silvermane duplicate controlled by Mysterio. From the bumbling Don Bruno Carnelli, soon, however, Mysterio kills Carmine and steps up most remaining Magi members to be killed by Mr. Negative's gang while he escapes with the Magi's vast fortune. And this is what I mean about the menacing nature of Mysterio. He is such a lowlife, combined with his knowledge and mastery of illusion, special effects, chemistry, and robotics. Yo, that makes this dude stupid dangerous, like really dangerous. While Mysterio made his escape, blowing up the opera house that was the site of the gang war's most recent standoff. In the process, Spider-Man was able to catch Mysterio fleeing a fleeing boat and destroy it, along with the stolen money. Beck is later seen being approached by Chameleon, who's apparently organizing a revenge scheme against their longtime foe with other villains. Okay, all right. Interesting. Now, End of the Earth. And these are, like I said, I think they're covering all of the storylines that Mysterio was a part of, or all of the most important storylines. I don't know if I'll get to all of them. There's a lot of them, which again, that it's clear that Marvel understands what they have in this villain. But it doesn't seem like, and maybe I just never noticed, but it doesn't seem like they put Mysterio on a big enough stage. Like, I don't understand that. So I was looking at something. I was looking at this superhero database. Now, I don't know how much this can be trusted. This is giving different power rankings of heroes, and you can look them up from different alternative realities in the comic book. So I chose the Prime Marvel universe for Mysterio. They gave him an intelligence of 85, strength of 10, speed of 20, durability of 20, power of 60, combat 75, which is actually pretty big. He's tier 1. Now, I wanted to compare that against some other heroes to kind of give you a gauge. Iron Man, intelligence 95, strength, obviously he has the suit, 100, speed 100, again he has the suit, durability 85, power 90, combat 80, tier 5. Now we compare that with Batman, and you see Batman's combat is 100. Now again, this is all subjective, right? So you can take any of this with a grain of salt. This is not like, the letter of the law. So they got Batman at 95, strength 25, speed 25, durability 25, power 25, combat 100, and tier 1. What I don't understand about Superhero Database is they have several Batmen on here, and some of them have different rankings, and they were all from the New 52 universe. So I'm not exactly sure how Superhero Database breaks down. Like I said, I've never used it before. I'll familiarize myself with that some more. but that just gives you an idea of how they feel Mysterio ranks against some other heroes. And I didn't really compare villains because Mysterio really doesn't have superpowers. I just, looked up other people that didn't have powers. Now, I will say, I am going to call Cap on this because there's no way that Mysterio and power can compare to Batman. And he has Batman has a power ranking of 25 and Mysterio of 60. I don't know if maybe they're considering in there his suit and some of the gadgets along with his suit. And in that case, I'm still giving it to Batman. Come on, Quentin Beck, Mysterio with better gadgets than Batman. I don't know if I buy that one. I don't know if I buy that at all. So I think, like I said, just reading through some of this, I'll read one more. End of Earth. Mysterio joins Dr. Octopus' latest Sinister Six in his plan to leave his legacy on the planet before he dies. Mysterio and the rest of the Sinister Six attack the intelligentsia, where Mysterio tricks the Red Ghost using his various illusions. Later, when Spider-Man organizes the Avengers to stop Dr. Octopus' plans, destroy Earth using an advanced greenhouse effect, Mysterio and the Chameleon set up a fact attack on Silver Sable's home country. His illusion is discovered, and this is the thing about that. Like I said, these illusions, when you do some digging into Mysterio, his illusions are so cunning and so crafty that you would think these illusions are actually real. Like, even there's books where Spider-Man has trouble with his spider sense because these illusions are so crazy. That's nuts. His illusion is discovered, and he and the Chameleon are defeated. Mysterio leads Spider-Man and the Avengers to Doc Ock's real base in South America that is revealed to be another trick in order for Dr. Octopus to mind control the Avengers through his Octobots and stolen technology that Peter Parker had created at Horizon Labs. However, the plan backfires when Silver Sable gains the upper hand and the Avengers are freed after Beck switches sides and disables the Octobots. Mysterio slips out during the final battle with Dr. Octopus. And like I said, this is again one of those things that makes Mysterio so dangerous, because he is a total slime ball, and he's also rather intelligent and dastardly. Yo, I think as a villain, I think I actually like and respect Mysterio a lot more. And I noticed, because like I said, I wasn't really up on him like that. I noticed in Ultimate Spider-Man, there seems to be a little bit of reverence toward Mysterio by some of the other villains. Like, yo, they recognize, yo, this ain't the dude to be trifled with. I'm not really trying to trifle with this dude too much. He can lead me on a wild goose chase, have me killing my own friends, and I won't even know what's going on. Yo, that's super dangerous. Mysterio, I didn't know. I really didn't know. I did not realize just how menacing this dude actually is. Marvel needs to do more with this. I'm just reading through his history. They've done a lot, but I think they need to do more with Mysterio on a main stage. What do you think? Is he just too corny? Is the fact that he doesn't have powers, is that really a factor? Is he menacing enough?